And right now, I have to tell you that this topic has been coming up over and over and over. I'm seeing it in all of the groups. I'm seeing all the things. Oh my gosh, parents these days just aren't like they used to be. Now, if you're like, yes, that is so true, then you're in the right place, my friends, because we're going to dive into, yes, how have parents changed, but how can we make small tweaks to change along with them so we don't lose our sanity? If you're joining me, say, hey, Erin, what's up? Let me know that you're here. I always want to know who is with me when I come on live every single Wednesday for the Erin Bird Live Show, where we dive into business strategies, mindset, tips, and tricks, and hopefully a little joy for you on your Wednesday mornings. Hey! Good morning to you. I'm so glad that you're here, Teresa. So here's the thing. We like to learn out loud here. So if something comes up and it resonates for you, please, please, please just like drop the nugget or hashtag nugget, something in there to not only anchor in the idea for you, but for those other friends who come back in on the replay. It lets them know to lean in a little bit closer because, maybe this was juicy and they should pay attention. So if you've stumbled upon this somehow, I'm Erin Bird, and I work with dance studio owners and educators to really grow their businesses without the burnout, the overwhelm, the sacrifice in their personal life, or pulling out their hair from crazy, stinking parents. Okay? My goodness. Y'all, this is something that is bananas to me. It's bananas. I posted about this topic, and some of the responses and private messages that I got, y'all, like, it's wild. It is wild out there with things that are happening inside the studios when it comes to parents and their behaviors. Now, as we're having this conversation, I want you to know it is a back and forth. So if you're joining me, say hello. Let us know that you're there. We want to hear what sort of things that are happening inside your studio that are maybe new behaviors that you're seeing coming from parents, or maybe it's just a new level of craziness that's happening, or if you are seeing an uptick as far as pushback on something in particular, we want to know that, or I want to know that as well, so that way we can let's dig into it together, so then we can come up with some plans and some solutions for you and your particular needs. Wild and entitled. Yes. Okay. I'm not going to argue with you there. Like, I think, and I don't like to blame certain things. And oh my gosh, I'm sure we are all like overhearing, since the pandemic, like since COVID. But here's the reality. Society has changed. The pandemic was a huge shift for people, and people's thought processes changed. There's a sense of, life's short. We should all do what we want to do, and it doesn't matter about anybody else. And I'm not saying we shouldn't do what we want to do. That being said, it doesn't mean we don't have any responsibilities still, or we don't, if we make a commitment, we shouldn't see it through, right? And so the stories that I'm getting is a lot of entitlement things. But we're going to dive into three. I kind of think three, probably, knowing me, it'll probably end up being more than three, but three kind of ideas that we need to really look at and see how do we maybe use this and put it in our back pocket, have it as a resource and tool for us when we have those parents. Some of the things that were sent in to me was like, I'm okay with responding to parents via email, but like that in person, confrontation, I don't feel great at. So we'll dive into that a little bit. The idea of people being just so entitled and expecting you to like disregard all the rules and still allow them to do all the things. So we're going to dive into that. There's a lot to unpack there. And then we're also going to dive into, okay, how do I set myself up for success for the future and as we roll into the summer and a new season, and really what has to change for you to not lose your sanity, and not only just not lose your sanity, but literally just be filled with joy and like, this is the best thing ever. I am so lucky to be able to do what I do. I took the time to like train and do and all the things, and like now I get to make an impact in other people's lives. You guys, that's a blessing for us. We are getting to mold and change our future. Sometimes that's hard. It's not always rainbows and butterflies, but today I really want to dive into kind of those three topics, but this is where you have the opportunity to help us navigate this conversation. So if you're joining me, say hello. I see some of you there. Say hello, and then let us know, what is the biggest challenge that you are dealing with when it comes to parents right now? Teresa said wild and entitled. Right? What is the biggest challenge you have? Is there a pattern? Are the challenges coming from one area or one group of people in your studio? So what do I mean by that? Hey, good morning. So is it one group? Is it like, you know what, my teen competitive group, those parents, they make me not even want to do it anymore? Is it parents of tiny tots are just different this year and like they don't want to cut the cord and I'm having a really hard time and we're on the struggle bus a little bit? Or does it feel like across the board, like it's just bananas with parents coming at you, no matter what group they're from, what demographic they're from, they're coming at you and you're like, I just don't even know, I'm over it. Let me know, because that will help me help you. All right, so let's go ahead and dive into some of the areas that I think have been coming up quite frequently, and how do we navigate them? So one of the first things that came up was, the question of when a parent is upset for whatever reason. I feel like I can handle that in email really well, but if they come in face to face and they're like, I'm ready to do this thing, talk about this, I'm not really great at confrontation. And here's the thing. The first thing that I would say is, shift your perspective. So remember that okay. Okay. So we're going to thank you. We're going to talk about that. She said, I'm like, oh my gosh, can I even put, I think I can put this. I don't know, this is different. Okay, I can't put it on screen. But anyway, legit, as I'm trying to watch your live, I have parents texting me up the wazoo. Well, here's the first thing that I'm going to tell you. Guess what? You don't have to answer them right away. You are not Netflix. You are not an on-demand service. Y'all hear me? You are not Netflix, Hulu, Prime, whatever it is that you watch that's on demand. You are not an on-demand service. Just because people text you or email you or call you does not mean that you have to respond right then. That's number one. Okay? But the second, so going back to that idea of I'm okay in email because I have time to collect my thoughts. I can write the draft. I can walk away. I can reread it and make sure that I'm articulating things really well. Well, that's not always possible when you have a parent standing in front of you at your counter, in your lobby, or in the classroom, or wherever it is that they want to have this conversation. Now, going back to that idea of on demand, it is perfectly appropriate to, yes, we respond better when we don't respond immediately. Right? So, it is perfectly acceptable in some majority, honestly, of instances of saying, you know what, let me think about that, and let's get back together tomorrow at 4 p.m. or whatever time it is. But let's bring it, circle back to that. I need to kind of think about it, collect my thoughts, whatever. That is perfectly acceptable. You do not have to have a solution to all the things immediately. Okay? Now, there are some things that, yes, we can have that conversation right then. But I think here's the thing. Sometimes we have stories, things that have happened to us in the past that we're carrying with us into the future, or into the present, I should say, and sometimes the future. And if you've had a bad experience with a parent where you felt attacked, where you weren't heard, where, they were walking all over you, something like that. And so you are a little bruised, you're a little jaded. And so every time you think a parent wants to talk to you, you've told yourself, get ready for a fight, right? Or they're coming in to attack me personally. When that might not actually be the reality. They might have a genuine concern or a question. Ooh, yeah, dad's waiting by waiting by your car in the dark. That is 100% inappropriate. I would call the police. That's, yes, that is next level. Not okay. So, which will lead me to another thing about protocol. But anywho, right? But going back to this conversation, like, we will carry in sometimes our past experiences. And I'm not saying don't learn from those experiences. So, i.e., the example, if you've had experience where a dad is waiting by your car in the dark, which, like, there's no words, honestly, to how inappropriate, how crazy that is, okay? But goes back to the idea of now, okay, what'd you learn from it? What are the protocols that we move forward with and we take with us? Like, and I know it's not always ideal, but like sometimes it's that, I don't, not one person is the only person who's closing up at night. Like, we need to think about safety. And so, what are the protocols that happen because of this interaction? But don't carry the feelings from those past bad experiences into ones that maybe they aren't going to be. So if we shift our perspective, about that, and say, like, we're going to come at this as two rational adults who are trying to just problem solve together. Okay? Remember, not everyone is out to attack